Folks, it's me, it's Kristy, environmental science here. So this video, I want to actually be very clear from the beginning. If you did not attend class on Wednesday, the 16th, you're in the wrong video. Click on the recording of class video and watch that before you watch this one. If you watch this one first, you'll be confused. If you were in class today, which a lot of you were, yay for class, you don't have to watch the recording of class video because you were there. And this is the video you should be watching, hopefully before Monday. Next week, I mean. So, if you were in class, then you know that we went over notebooks. Let's see, view, present. We went over notebooks, so I'm not going to go over that. Come on. Went over all this. Okay. So, this is what I'd like you to do for me. So again, today's Wednesday. What I talk about in this video will be due on Monday. So we talk a lot about the definition of environment and environmental science, right? So your first task, if you want to call it that, that's going to be due on Monday, is writing down the two definitions that we talked about in the vocabulary section of your notebook. So those of you that got your notebook set up, you know that the vocab sheet is the last thing we glued in. We're going to open that up. Give it a second here. Give it a second. We need some elevator music. So here it is. Here's your environmental science vocab list. So the first word, the first vocabulary word of the quarter is environment. It's for learning target 1. You're going to write down the definition straight from the slide. So right here. Also, I added one or two small things to this definition after class. I looked at it. I was like, I'm not very happy, or I'm not completely happy. So I changed a little bit. So I said the environment includes the land, animals, plants, water, and air, and how they interact with one another. That's gonna be our base definition for environment. And you guys touched upon every single one of these in class. So good job. The next definition you're going to write down for me, 1 second here, is environmental science, right? So that's going to be the second one. Again, it is learning target 1, and the definition again can be found on the next slide. So the definition of environmental science, it's pretty easy. The study of how humans interact with all of those things that we just said were in the environment, right? So environmental science is highly focused on, if you want like my rundown, it's pretty much how humans are screwing up the planet and ways we can go about fixing it. A lot of environmental scientists, a lot of their job revolves around fixing what humans have already screwed up in a lot of ways. Okay, so task 1 for Monday, task 1 for before Monday, I should say. Get these two definitions down in your vocabulary section of your notebook. If you don't have your notebook yet, you can write the definitions down and then just make sure you jot them down in the vocab section when you get your notebook. Okay, task 1, pretty simple, just the definitions. So now I'm going to finish, in this video, I'm going to finish these slides. I'm going to go over what I didn't get a chance to cover in class. So here are some examples of environmental science. How humans use natural resources, like coal or oil. How human beings relate to non-living things, like the water or soil. How human actions can negatively or positively change the environment. Unfortunately, in 2020, we're seeing more of the negative than the positive, as we see when we walk outside and we can't breathe, right? Or as we feel, I should say. Well, you can see the smoke too. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, environmental science is all about how humans are interacting with all of these living and non-living things in the environment. Alright, so there are many different jobs available in environmental science. So if you go to college and you get a degree in environmental science, a lot of people think that there's just like one or two things you can do with your life. And the whole point of this unit, or Learning Target 1, Sticker 1, is to get that thought out of your head. Because environmental science is like, there's a million branches that come out of it. Meaning there's a million different directions you can go with it. Today, I'm going to talk about a few of them. But the whole point of this learning target is for you to realize that there are many, many, many different types of environmental scientists. So, another word that you're going to see or read or hear a lot in this class is ecology. So we've got ecology, and we've got ecologist. I think most of you probably know this, but if you don't, if you see a sciencey word and it ends in IST, we're typically talking about a person. So biology, biologist. A biologist is the person who studies or does biology, right? Ecology, ecologist. Ecology is the study of something, and then the ecologist is the person who studies it. So ecology, it's the study of how living things interact with each other and how they interact with their non-living environment. Another way to think about that is like how a living thing interacts with the non-living things around it, right? Which makes sense. We talk a lot about the difference between living and non-living things in this class. So in this class, and I'm happy to debate you, or I'm happy to hear all of your opinions about this, but typically in environmental science, at least in the Western sense of things, water, soil, air, these are all what we call abiotic. Abiotic. This means that they're non-living. They are not alive. Things like plants, or bugs, or animals, or bacteria, these things are all alive. They are living. They are called biotic things. So we have abiotic, which means not alive, and biotic, which means alive. We're going to talk more about that later in the quarter. But ecology is all about how the living and the non-living things interact with each other. An ecologist is a person whose job it is to study living things and how they interact with, again, the non-living things in the environment. So, it's so awkward. I try to click my slide to turn it, and then it waits like 7 seconds, so it's a delay. Anyway, so another really important concept in this learning target 1, is that a scientist doesn't just have one job, right? Also, in this video, I'm going to use the word job, role, and responsibility. They're all mean the same thing to me, right? So if I'm talking about a scientist's role in society, I just mean what's their job? Like what are the things that they're doing that's so important to the world, right? What are they contributing to the world? So what are some of ecologists' role in society? Well, to help save endangered species. So endangered species are animals that are suddenly dying in high numbers. Lots of ecologists' jobs revolve around saving these species and helping them survive. Some of their jobs involve conserving native plants. We're going to talk more about native plants later in the year, but native plants are plants that are supposed to be here. So we have native plants and invasive plants not supposed to be here. Native plants are great for the environment. They make everything better, even the living things. Or sorry, plants are living. I mean even the animals. So a lot of ecologists work on conserving native plants, making sure they're not being damaged or destroyed by humans, and protecting land that those native plants are on. A lot of ecologists are working to help fight climate change, specifically animals that are dying because temperatures are getting too warm. Think about the polar bears right now. Polar bears live on ice, but the ice is melting. So what's going to happen to all our polar bears if the ice keeps melting, right? So these are problems that ecologists are working really hard to solve in the next like 10 years. I can go on and on about the roles of ecologists. I mean, I could probably spit off 25 things that these people do that are incredibly important for society, but I'm not going to do that. Alright, come on, slide, you can do it. You can do it. Okay, so what are some other environmental scientists? Well, we have biologists. These guys study living organisms, anything that's alive. I have to say, I shouldn't have put viruses here. That was silly of me. Viruses are not alive. But there are microbiologists that do study viruses. So I'll say that. The study of living organisms, so we're talking bacteria, animals, plants, fungus, anything that's living, biologists can study. Zoology is specifically the study of animals, right? So these scientists specialize in animals and ways to specifically help certain animals. Okay, well this video is going to run out of time on me, meaning like I'm going to get cut off in the next few seconds. So I didn't cover everything. So click on the next video for me. I promise it'll only be 3 or 4 minutes, okay? Alright, see you in the next video. Peace!